Wriggle wants to fly. Wriggle woke up underneath the nettles and stretched himself from head to bottom, then bottom to head. As he looked upwards, he saw two birds flying in the clear blue sky and wished that he could fly too. He daydreamed for a moment, and as he watched them flying, then looked at his hairy caterpillar friends busily munching on the nettle leaves. "Morning, everyone," he said. "Good morning, Wriggle. We tried keeping quiet, old chap, as we saw you were still dreaming," said Captain Brown. "Time you got up, you lazy thing," said Blue Sue. "Hi, Wriggle. Take no notice of Blue Sue. She's in a bad mood as usual," said Big Red. "Morning," said Sergeant White. "Isn't it about time you had some breakfast? We've been up for hours," said Bossy Black. "I have a cabbage leaf left in my backpack that'll make a snack. Then I must leave you to find some more," said Wriggle. "That's a shame. I will miss you, Wriggle," said Big Red. Wriggle ate his leaf and departed for the hole in the old stone wall. He squeezed through the small space, and as he dropped, rolled himself up into a ball, ending up rather giddily under some ferns. He heard the sound of laughter, and just in front of him were three snails grinning. "Going in for the Olympics now, are we?" said one of them. "Double somersault with a twist," said another. "I'll give you 8 out of 10 for that one," said the third snail, giggling. "Well, thanks a lot. I can't hear any applause," said Wriggle. "I'm trying to get back to Mr. Watson's cabbage patch." "I'm ready for some lunch, sounds good to me," said one of the snails. "Why don't you join me? I'm called Wriggle. Who are you?" The snail with the light brown colour said, "I'm Pickle, because I'm always in trouble." "My parents call me Pierre," said the snail with the white shell, "and I have relatives in France. My uncle sent me this black beret for my birthday, and it fits perfectly." "I'm Slippery Sam, as I leave a very slippery trail behind," said the snail with the grey shell. "Well, it's nice meeting you all. Let's get going, because my stomach is rumbling and I'm really hungry," said Wriggle. He wriggled on ahead and the snail slithered behind him, leaving rainbow trails on the path. The sun shone and the path got very warm. Wriggle and his friends were getting too hot. "Let's have a rest under this bush," said Wriggle. "Good idea," said Pierre. "It's nice and damp under there." They rested for a while, and then they carried on with their journey to Mr. Watson's cabbage patch. "Did I feel a spot of rain?" said Slippery Sam. "Yes, you did, and it's pouring now, and there's not a cloud in the sky. Funny that, eh?" said Pickle a few moments later. "Look out, everyone, there's Mr. Watson," said Wriggle. "He's watering the cabbage patch. Let's hide. If he catches us anywhere near his cabbages, who knows what will happen?" Pickle wasn't quick enough, and Mr. Watson's large hand came down, picked him up and tossed him to one side. "Oh, help! Oh, help! I'm flying!" yelled Pickle. "I've always dreamt of flying," said Wriggle to the others. Pierre and Slippery Sam kept quiet and hoped their dear friend would land on something soft. Pickle managed to squash back into his shell as he flew and landed in a forward roll onto the compost heap. After a little while he emerged from his shell and looked around. "Am I safe now? Am I really safe?" He could see across to the cabbage patch and hoped that his friends were all right. Mr. Watson went into the house after watering the vegetable garden, and Wriggle and his friends emerged from their hiding place to feed on the cabbage leaves again. Pickle eventually found his way back to the cabbages where Pierre, Slippery Sam and Wriggle had munched large holes in Mr. Watson's vegetables. "How are you? Did it feel good to fly?" said Slippery Sam to Pickle. "It felt as though I had butterflies in my tummy. It's the first time I've ever done it," said Pickle. "I feel tired, very full up, and I need to have a sleep now," said Wriggle. "We must slide away and hide between the stones in the garden wall where it's safe and damp. Bye, Wriggle." "Bye," said Wriggle. Wriggle crawled over to the apple tree, where he found a space to rest under a piece of bark sticking out from the trunk. It was nice and dry inside, so he shut his eyes and slept. He woke up the next day feeling different somehow. He made a blanket around himself that turned hard in the warmth of the sunshine. It was strange, but Wriggle didn't seem to mind. He dozed off into a long sleep until his blanket split open, and Wriggle crawled out. He felt a little damp, but as he dried out he noticed a big change in himself. He found that he had 2 large white wings with black spots on, a slender dark body with 6 very long legs, and 2 large feelers on his head. He was a beautiful butterfly. A light breeze caught him and he took off into the air. "I can fly! I can really fly!" he said excitedly as he flapped his new wings. He noticed 5 other butterflies in the garden, but they didn't look the same as him. They were all red, white, black, blue and brown. One of them shouted, "Hi!" to Wriggle, who recognised the voice. It was Big Red, and as his old friends fluttered around him, he remembered the adventure he shared with them on the way to the nettle patch. Big Red, Blue Sue, Bossy Black, Sergeant White and Captain Brown were really pleased to see their friend Wriggle again. "Wow, this is great," said Wriggle. "Wriggle, let's have a race," said Big Red. "All right, here we go," said Wriggle, as they all flew across the garden together. The end.